Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Great, thank you.
How are we?
Good. Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah.
Funny you should ask. Wonderful.
Yeah. I don't suppose there's any news in our little break?
Not in the last 5 minutes, no.
No? Okay.
No news.
All right, well, I suppose we should introduce ourselves then. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky. And together we are...
Trial
by
Wine.
And what are we drinking?
She says with a sigh. Come on, it's the fancy one.
I'm still struggling through the fancy one.
The San Pellegrino.
Pellegrino.
Struggling through it. If your taste buds have gotten used to Cole's
budget. Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm just not that thirsty. It's weird. Not really thirsty.
And boys, what are you drinking?
We are having a delightful Red Claw Pinot Noir from the Mornington Peninsula. What about you, Schmitty?
Well, I
Did you
am
rip
on.
the stab off? Ooh,
that looks good.
Fancy drink.
I like that glass.
That is a white wine spritzer made with the beautiful Delatite Winery's Pinot Gris, which is delicious. And I've topped it up with a lot of ice and a decent serve of tonic water. And it makes for quite a nice spritzer. Yeah, it works quite well. And the reason I'm doing that is because, as we discovered not in our last episode, but when we were recording the other day, keto and alcohol don't go very well together. And I don't want to get the hiccups to sound like the biggest drunk ever when actually I wasn't that drunk. I just couldn't stop hiccuping for over an hour, which was quite distressing in the end. So I've decided to water my drink down.
Genius.
And even though I am drinking this out of a Spanish gin glass, which means it looks like a bucket of wine, I've poured out effectively one glass of wine and then topped it all up, which should last me the whole episode. So
looks like I'll be the one getting drunk tonight then. Good-o.
Good. Makes for a pleasant change. Clarky, do you have a story for us?
Why, yes, indeed I do. Do you want to hear it?
I would love to.
Please.
Should we just end it now? All right, let's do it.
No,
I'm going to go straight in with my sources. My sources are listverse.com, boardpanda.com, ranker.com, All That's Interesting, and thoughtcatalog.com.
This is sounding very light at the moment.
It doesn't sound like
clues,
a great
right?
list. Yeah. No Smithsonian. Yeah.
No. But if you want a clue, listen closely. Are you ready?
Okay. Yep.
Neighbours.
Everybody needs good neighbors.
Good old Barry Crocker. Yeah.
Just a friendly wave each morning helps to make
Yeah. Neighbours soundtrack. Got it.
Yep. So for all of the Australians and our UK listeners, you'll know that's the Neighbours soundtrack. So today I'd like to talk about all things Neighbours, but not really all things Neighbours because this is a true crime podcast after all. So maybe I'll just share some of the seedier interactions between neighbours. But the real question, Barry Crocker, is does just a friendly wave each morning help to make a better day? Or is there just helping some people?
Probably the latter.
So I'm going to take you through a few little stories. So the first one is from Redditor and from Zygomelon M is the username who's written this story. Now, I didn't say Redditor was one of my sources because it was on a ranker.com article. So they sourced it from Redditor. Anyway, Zygomelon M says, this isn't even everything that went down with that neighbour, just some brief highlights. My mum had this neighbour who pretended to be weak from cancer/chemo.
Oh, God,
so her landlord couldn't get mad at her for when trash bins were full and lawn was filthy.
Mm-hmm.
She even went as far as shaving her head
when your
and
lawn's
faking
filthy.
a limp. I know, I was thinking, what is that? Do you mean that unmown? Filthy? Yep. What? It'll rain.
Filthy lawn, you dirty lawn. Yeah.
Dirty. She went as far as shaving her head and faking a limp, cane and everything. Mum baked her some cookies and offered to take care of her bins and lawn. But then the neighbour spills her scam. My mum, now enlightened about my neighbour's "the fault in our stars" bullshit, her words not mine, or his words not mine, and tired
Right.
of the trash blowing into our yard, called the landlord. Neighbour wasn't happy and would blast music at ungodly hours of the night/wee morning to get back at my mum. Mum would get frustrated because she worked late and left early, and filed noise complaints to the police. The police arrived, and the neighbour claims that my mum, an old little Asian lady, punched her in the chest. The neighbour wants her arrested, but Mum shows the cops our security cam footage. No mum punching. Instead, finds crazy neighbour kicking her 9-year-old daughter out in the middle of the night. 9-year-old is banging on her door. My mum comes out to check on noise and tries to bring hysterical girl inside at like 2 a.m. in the morning. And the neighbour comes out and sprays her with a hose.
Sprays the neighbour with the hose or your mum?
The neighbour comes out and sprays the mum with a hose. Needless to say, the neighbour gets taken away and the daughter is sent to live with her dad. That's story number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And this from Bored Panda. I used to have a neighbour that put their extra bags of garbage out next to mine. This might not seem like such a big deal, but it was nearly every week. And our municipality had a 2-bag limit. If you had extra bags,
That's bullshit, but yeah, go on.
you had to put a sticker on them, purchasable for a mere 25 cents, or they would not be picked up. Also doesn't seem like a big deal, 25 cents. Anyway.
But what a pain in the ass. Like,
Right.
it's just
So-
making it hard for people to get rid of their rubbish. Fuck off, municipality. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? They're the problem here so far.
They are, because it costs more than 25 cents, I'm sure, to pick that bag up. Or maybe it doesn't. Anyway,
25 cents. I mean, you've got to put a sticker on it that costs 25 cents. The whole act of buying a sticker for 25 cents would be worth more than 25 cents.
Exactly.
Anyway, so every week I would go out after putting my 2 cans out the night before, not 2 cans the birds, but 2 cans of rubbish, and find that there were extra bags of someone else's garbage left behind. It took a long time to determine who the guilty party was, and a couple of extra bags each week added up. I would put on my rubber gloves, open the mystery bags, and sift through them, trying to find identifying information. It was very frustrating because every week there was nothing. I knew that the culprits had kids because there were always dirty diapers. I mean, there's commitment to be going through that, isn't there? Oh, yuck. I knew that they were disgusting, lazy sons of bitches because every bag was full of styrofoam plates and plastic cutlery, which they apparently found more convenient than washing dishes.
Well, no wonder
Hence
they
their
weren't
production
getting a
of
25
surplus
cents.
waste. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This went on for a ridiculously long time. I would sift through their bags, be disappointed, rebag their garbage, and then
don't know who's the
grudgingly
problem
store
here.
it in my garage. Like there's a lot going wrong, isn't there?
Store it.
In the
Store
garage.
dirty diapers.
Rather than pay the 25 cents, they rebag it and put it in the garage.
And then what? Then they've got extra bags next week. This makes no sense, but all right.
Play along.
Okay.
With the only other option being to pay for surplus stickers to take it away. 50 cents for 2 bags. I know which I'd choose, but
What
you know.
year is this? Well,
I don't know.
1989, where 25 cents is a lot?
Yeah, right. That's what I can't get my head around. Anyway, happily, we didn't have a car, so there was lots of space in the garage.
That worked out all right then.
Still, what?
Fucking hell. Happily, we didn't have a car.
One fine August day, it happened. A bill was in the garbage. A bill with an address on it.
And it was my
Finally,
own.
I knew the household which was responsible for all the extra garbage. The cheapskates that could not find it in their budgets to affix a mere 25-cent stickers for their surplus waste and instead sneakily put it on their neighbour's yard. They were 3 doors down and across the alley. I mean, I agree they are cheapskates for not paying the 25 cents. Also, you're storing the rubbish in your garage rather than paying 25 cents.
This is a bit
It's
wrong.
like
Yeah.
it's like Cheapskateville or something.
True. Yep.
So,
Well, it's the principle. It's not their rubbish.
So our good neighbour waited for their van to be gone and then
Our
went over to
storyteller.
their gate, opened it, and placed all their garbage carefully back
There
in
it
their
is.
driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Since fair is fair and I was already obliged to handle their garbage and rebag it, I emptied it all out and took my bags back, leaving their 6 months extra garbage in a heap in their driveway. I don't think they ever worked out who had their revenge on them, since it was pretty clear that they were leaving extra bags for everyone who shared an alley with them.
Oh, so they had more than 2 extra bags.
Yeah. So 2 extra bags for these lot, but for other people.
Other people as well. Okay.
But that was the end of their illegal dumping. It does give me some satisfaction to know that even if I had to handle and rebag their garbage when it was fresh, they had to rebag it after it had been fermenting for months in my non-climate controlled garage.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I mean, that's determination, isn't it, to do that to your garage?
Yeah.
Ugh. And the story ends with one word, which is pricks.
Yeah, there's a few pricks in that story. It's not quite a neighbour story, but I suppose it's a community story. And this is a second-hand story. But when in the year before I came back to Australia, I'd sent London ahead of me, my dog. And Mum and Dad were looking after London for me in Australia, and they adored him, and Dad particularly loved him. And Dad would take him for walks every day. But my father was never one to pick up after the dog when it did its business.
Right.
And one of I wouldn't say neighbour, but someone in the community noticed this behaviour and wasn't very happy with it. So this person bagged up the poo over a period of time, followed my father home at some point, and left it on the front veranda for him. He still didn't pick up after the dog, though.
Yeah. It sat there festered there for months.
What the fuck is this bullshit? Would have been his response, but he'd still, I don't think, picked up after the dog.
Yeah. Whilst doing this research, there are a number of dog poo stories,
ones.
but
Yeah.
I didn't choose one. If you're a regular listener, you've heard us talk about Cigarette Sally, the lady who used to hang out at a local station asking, "Have you got $7 for cigarettes for me?" And when the answer was no, which it always was, she would cry like this. Well, how about this story from thoughtcatalog.com? I lived in a house that had been split into 2 apartments. Next door was a crackhead. Normally, crackhead kept to herself and didn't bother me except to bum a cigarette or 2 every few days. One day she needed a smoke, but I was down to my last pack and payday wasn't for another 3 days. So I said no. She must have really needed a smoke because it was like a rage switch had been turned on into her head. I turned around and went back to my apartment to get away from her screaming at me. And she went back into her apartment and started pounding on the walls. At least I thought she was just pounding on the walls. Turns out she grabbed a hammer and was smashing her way through the walls to my apartment.
Get that cigarette. Yeah. Oh my God.
I called her boyfriend, who was basically a decent dude, and he rushed home and got her calmed down. The hole in the walls was basketball sized by the time she was stopped.
Oh my God.
Luckily for me, they were already being evicted, so I didn't have to worry about her anymore. Now, this one's quite a long one, so bear with me. And there's a little bit of judgy going on. Also, that's what we do, so don't need to bear with me on that. And this one's from Metaspoon. Back when I was living with my ex-husband like 5 years ago, our area had a decent cost of living and I was making good money. So we were in this super nice apartment complex. It was all recently remodeled in a really convenient part of town, lots of amenities, huge pool, fitness centre, free on-site laundry, private dog park, all kinds of stuff. It was great and super quiet. We lived in the middle unit on our floor, so we had 1 unit to our left and 1 to our right. One day, I noticed we were getting new neighbours on our left. Being a friendly person, I whipped up some cookies, 1 batch of normal chocolate chunk with salted caramel, and 1 batch of gluten-free, dairy-free, taste-free,
fun-free,
chocolate chip. Ugh.
food-free.
just in case they had dietary restrictions. I mean, that's
What a
thoughtful.
It's
nice,
very
thoughtful
good of
person.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if I had that, don't bother. I don't want those.
I just buy them.
I bring them over in nice little boxes wrapped in ribbon, along with a card
Oh.
saying, welcome to the community. If you ever need anything, reach out, etc., etc. What a lovely neighbour. So I go over and knock, and when the door opens, I see this lady with, I'm not joking, like 8, and throughout this story they use asterisks, and there's a number, one asterisk I'm assuming for each letter, so I've got to guess the swear word. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with this one. I'm not joking, like 8 fucking kids.
Mhm.
Every time I swear,
The
I'm
kids
guessing the
weren't
swear word.
fucking, because that would be really inappropriate.
Well, that would be awkward, wouldn't it? Yeah. My stomach drops. I know this is
don't have
going to
cookies.
suck, but I'm hoping maybe they aren't all hers. She's babysitting or they're having a play date or something.
Fuck off, cookie
All
wanker.
right? I said it was judgy. I introduced myself anyway, welcome her, all that, and ask, so are all these little ones yours? She gives me an enthusiastic yes and starts running me
I'm
through all their names
Octomum.
and
Haven't you
ages.
heard of me? Or haven't you seen me in
That's
the
right.
magazines?
They're not all octuplets.
Well, we didn't get that far. Yeah.
Yeah. So I zone out because I couldn't care less. And then she starts.
What an asshole.
Sorry. And then she asks how many I have. How did you go from being such a lovely neighbour to I don't give a
He's
shit
such
about
an
your life?
asshole.
Because she
Yeah.
wasn't a lovely neighbour. She was someone who was going to check it out, I would imagine, and get in there
Oh,
first.
yeah.
And then
Look at
being
you.
one of
Mrs.
those who-
Mangle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Here you go. I was the
Mm.
first person to be nice to you. I'm coming in to check in first. I'm coming to have a look. I've got the cookies, so you can't,
And
move
for
me on.
all eternity, I can say, but I did this for you when you first
Yes.
moved in.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right.
If that's the case, she gets her comeuppance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell her I'm child-free and my husband and I love our pup enough to be satisfied with him. Her entire demeanour
He'll be
changes.
dead within 10 years. Yeah.
She looks at me like I just ran over her
Not the
mum,
husband.
and she goes, well, that's disappointing.
It
Haven't
is.
you considered how selfish you're being? Everyone needs a little baby. Who's going
Oh.
to take care of you when you're older? I feel like that's a reason.
This sounds like
if that's your
bullshit to
reason
me.
to have kids,
Should I just
that's
have a couple of
selfish.
yours?
This
You
sounds,
Yeah,
seem to have
right.
enough.
this sounds like bullshit.
I think
What
that's
are you
bullshit
even?
too.
Well, keep listening because I reckon
Yeah.
it gets worse. What are you even going to do with your life? I'm internally rolling my eyes severely, but I just tell her I'm focusing on my degree and my career, that I'm in the human services / social work field because I want to dedicate my life to helping others, and my lifestyle just doesn't include a child. Only when
except
it
when-
suits.
It's judgy.
Except when the lady next door happens to have some. And
Too
if
many
you're
kids. Yeah.
so good in social work, you wouldn't
Yeah.
be having this reaction.
No.
Now, I'm
What
going
a
to need
horrible
help with this
person.
swear word.
Mhm.
It's an 8-letter swear word, and I will beep where the swear word is, but I can't quite work it out.
Yeah.
She
Mhm.
responds with more beep about how the best way to help
Bullshit.
the world. I mean, is that even a swear word?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, well, that's why I was never going to get that. That's how funny my mouth is.
Oh, you
She
were
resp-
overthinking it, darling, I think.
Quite possibly.
Overcomplicating it.
I'm thinking, fucking doesn't have.
I had my pencil out
77.
ready. I was like going to do like a hangman thing. I think we're going to give us letters, whatever else. And I was like, 8 letters.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
and you got it straight away.
I just said it was bullshit before. That was the last word out of my mouth.
But then I thought, no, this is an American story, so it'd be asshole. So it's one letter
Asshole.
less.
Yeah, it'll be 7 again. I feel like if I was trying to bleep out bullshit in writing, I would just like put an asterisk for the I or something.
Or
Yeah,
BS.
me too. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not,
BS.
it's not offensive enough. Yeah.
Not
anyway.
worth your effort. I agree.
Right. Well, she responds with more bullshit about how the best way to help the world is to bring more babies into it. Blah, blah, blah. I zone out harder. These two are going quite well. I think they could have benefited from a friendly wave each morning. At this point, I'm trying to get out of there so I can change the subject and give her the cookies. Before I can
She
explain
didn't
which
cookies
is
yet.
which, she rips open the wrapping and shoves one of the gluten/dairy-free cookies in her mouth. Chews for a second, then
Is it,
spits it out onto the ground next
As
to
would
where
I
I'm
have.
standing. Appropriate so far.
Mhm.
She looks at me all disgusted and is like, oh, here we go. I think I can guess this one.
What the fuck?
What the fuck are these?
Yeah.
They're fucking gross. I explained it to her that they're gluten/dairy free because I wasn't sure if they had restrictions, and that the other box has the regular cookies. She rolls her eyes and shoves the first box back in my hands, opens the normal cookies and eats one and says, "Yeah, these are better. You really shouldn't give people those other nasty things. They're disgusting."
I don't believe this.
Agreed.
Yeah, neither do I.
But I do agree also.
I think this
I made
person's just-
cookies because I wanted to stick my nose in, and I had a really negative
Yep.
experience because I was
so
being
they'll
an
just
asshole.
kind of ham it up.
And
Yeah,
then I'm going to make a big fuss about it. Yeah.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
Karen.
I took them back home after all this, and several friends of mine tried them. I thought they were pretty good, and so did everyone else. Now, this is where the real bullshit is,
No,
right?
see,
No
your
No
friends
one
are
ever
about
about
you. Yeah.
yeah, right.
You didn't try these
God.
cookies. The lady next door is so rude to me. Will you see if they're okay? They're great, darling. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on the delicious gluten-free, dairy-free, texture-free, taste-free.
I'm picturing Tom Hanks in Big when he has the beluga caviar and does this like.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not big on kids, nor ate kids, but I tell you what, gluten-free, dairy-free cookies, I'm not big on either. So it's
You went to her house.
right.
It's not like she and her 8 children
You
showed up on your
dirty
doorstep
space
and
invader.
demanded cookies. You
Not
invaded
yet.
this woman's privacy, and then you're acting like you're the victim. Fuck off, Karen.
And
as you said, Shane.
you took gluten-free, dairy-free cookies. Like, you are the perpetrator right now.
Yeah.
If
That's
you
the crime.
just wouldn't bother, here's some, and if they say we can't have them,
I'll
someone's
have
got a
them back.
budget, just say, oh, okay, then no worries.
Give
I
them to
didn't
someone
think of it.
else.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'll take them. Next time I'm cooking, I'll do some that don't have this, that, and the other in it. Who
Correct.
turns up with both as if you're so worthy? Oh my God. I've thought of everything. Look at me.
Yeah, I know.
Social
Yeah.
worker.
Oh my God. I'm
Social
so.
I'm doing a degree in social work because I'm going to solve the world's problems, and I understand everything. I understand neurodivergence. I understand gluten intolerance. Oh, are any of your children, are they experiencing any gender identity issues? I'll talk to them. Fuck off.
Completely disrespected your keto diet, Schmitty. Imagine, God, where's your option out of this?
Sorry, you'll have to take them away. Are they sugar free? Be gone.
Yeah.
Be gone. From here. Are they carb free? Get out of here. Yeah.
So let's continue because the story is long and probably
God,
does require
still
some
going.
fact checking.
Right.
Her kids are now behind her, seeing that she has cookies, and as kids do, are now begging for them. Do they?
Yeah.
Now, I made a dozen. Seems like a reasonable amount for any family, right? Even if
No.
they had 4 kids, they could each have 2. But again, these people have 8, and they need to be judged for it.
I figured you added that bit. No, I don't think a dozen is a reasonable amount. Anyway, you didn't make a dozen. You made 24. 12 inedible ones
Well,
and 12
shit.
edible
Yeah,
ones.
that's
Yeah.
right.
I hope the mum
Yeah.
gives the kids all the gluten-free ones. I would keep the good ones myself.
No, she's given them back already. At this
Damn.
point, I was just kind of over the interaction, gave her the card, and was about to go back into my apartment when she goes, "Wait." I turn back around and look at her. She says, "You only brought 12. There's 10 of us here. Me and my husband want to eat 2 cookies. So what, my kids get only 1 each? I
Not
mean,
true.
what are we calling on that?"
Bullshit.
Yeah, right. I'm internally rolling my eyes again.
There's a
But
lot
I'm
of
going to
eye
say it's
rolling.
bullshit. Yeah.
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 I mean, bullshit is just an act that bulls do. It's not a swear word.
But do you think that, like, if this woman who's taken the cookies over, if this had really transpired, do you think by this point you might have gone, okay, I thought I was doing something nice, forget it. You wouldn't have gone, oh, I'm internally rolling my eyes. I'd just be like, oh, forget it or whatever.
I'd be externally
Okay,
rolling my eyes.
yeah. I'd be like, oh,
Then.
I've
Fuck
caught
off
you at a
and
bad.
welcome to the
Look,
neighborhood.
I'd be like, oh, passive. It looks like I've caught you at a bad time. I'll leave you with your little monsters, whatever else. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be going,
Yeah.
oh, let this woman talk all over me again. Going, where are the rest of the cookies? You only made 10 and we're like, you only made 12
It's
and there's
just-
10 of us. Oh, what a crock of
It's
shit.
not true. Yep.
No,
Anyway.
it's not true.
This woman is a truth stretcher.
Your timing is perfect. That's exactly what I was going to say, because the next bit that our truth stretcher says is, again, Swanee, I'm internally rolling my eyes.
Oh, again.
But I say, I'm sorry, but I had no idea you had so many kids when I made them. I try to leave again, and this time she grabs me by my shoulder and demands that I make another batch.
Oh,
no, she
bullshit.
doesn't. Saying my kids deserve more than one cookie.
Oh,
You don't
I
have
don't
kids,
believe that.
and you don't do shit, I'm guessing that, all day. Just go make more. You don't have anything else to do. You owe it to them. I think there's a lot of crazy going on here.
I think this woman's a psycho.
Her kids are still crying and begging in the background, and she points this out. Look at them. Look how sad you're making them. Does that feel good, making children cry?
Yes. Yes, it does.
This woman's a fantasist.
Oh, like it's awful.
As if you'd still be there engaging. If this had happened, you'd be like, fuck, all right. Sorry, I thought I did something nice. Forget it. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm backing away.
Of course.
Home. Bye. Thanks. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, give me some more shit. I just stand here and take it. I mean, as if.
So I flat out refused to tell her that if I'd known she was going to be so rude and ungrateful, I wouldn't have bothered in the first place. I snatched the box of cookies from her hand and go back into my apartment. I thought that would end it. I was wrong. She then opens my door and starts to walk inside, yelling about how those are her children's cookies and that I should be ashamed of myself for stealing from a child. I push her back out again, slam the door closed and lock it. Then she proceeds to pound on my door and scream at the top of her lungs, demanding not only the original box of cookies, but several more batches because I was such a four-letter word, shit, maybe?
Slag.
Yeah, slag. Mole.
Mole.
Yeah.
Mole.
That her children and she deserved them. She went on like this for at least 25 minutes before our landlord got involved. My building was right next to the leasing office, so I'm sure she heard the screaming pretty clearly. She was told to leave me alone, and under no circumstances was that level of noise or that kind of behaviour acceptable. I don't want to live in this community.
No.
That ended the craziness that day, but honestly, it was insufferable living next to her. There was constant screaming and crying and loud noise.
The other family, yeah.
At all hours, every single day. If I or any of the other neighbours complained, we were being stuck up and rude because they're just kids. There was always gross bags full of dirty diapers, same problem, sitting outside right in between her door and mine. I mean, were there? Again, my complaints were futile. Her kids were always playing on the stairs and the deck leading to our apartments, making them a hazard because they were constantly underfoot whenever I'd leave/come home. What?
What, the stairs
Friendly
and the deck?
wave each morning would have helped for sure. When I brought this up, I was told kids are allowed to play wherever they want, and if they get hurt, it's your fault. Yeah. Really? Oh, I don't know if I can continue with this story. You know how when we do the serial killer ones and they get so sad and so depressing that you think, oh, we'll just move on? This is a bit like that.
I believe she probably was annoyed with the 8 kids. She probably was annoyed with the noise. She probably was annoyed with the mess and whatever. And then maybe invented a lot of the cookie story to create a backstory that made it sound all right. Otherwise, you're just a whingy fucking neighbour. Shut up.
Maybe she invented the Neighbours and she's just cray-cray. The whole thing was, head.
Made up in her head, yep.
Yep. They also harassed my dog, a corgi puppy I trained as an ESA. Every time I took him out to the point where he developed anxiety towards going outside.
Dog. Oh, my God, he's an emotional support dog. That's what ESA
animal. Yeah,
that
right.
That is so funny. And then he gets anxiety.
Yeah, exactly right. He was never very good at it. He only just passed. Thankfully, I handled that pretty definitively when on one occasion, one of the little brats walked up and smacked my pup directly in the face and pulled on his ears. He yelped in pain and then growled and snapped, and I absolutely lost it. She handled it pretty definitively. I screamed my head off at all of the kids, told them if they ever touched my dog or as much as came near him again, I'd have him eat them. And if that didn't work, I'd call the dog police and have them all arrested. It's silly, but they were young enough and that worked really well. Oh, my God. This is why neighbour incidents occur. There's a whole bunch of crazy in this lady and a poor lady trying to cope with 8 kids. All this nonsense went on for almost a year, with my landlord getting more and more fed up with the constant complaints and her constantly using the "they're just kids" defense until it finally happened. At some point, their destructive little monsters had somehow put a hole in the wall we shared. While I was waiting for the maintenance to come and fix it, I noticed a roach, which I'm assuming is American for cockroach,
A cockroach, yes. La
scuttle out of the
cucaracha.
hole and into my apartment. I killed it immediately, but everyone knows if you see one roach, you have a ton.
Not really,
Not,
but yeah, go on.
not where we live. I put duct tape over the hole and then went and pounded on their door. When she answered, I just completely lost it on her. I screamed in her face about how disrespectful and nasty her and her family were, how I couldn't believe she was okay with wallowing in her own filth like a pig in shit. I figure I got that one right. And how she should have her entire little brood of screaming monsters taken from her for being so disgusting and revolting, to the point of cultivating a roach infestation. I mean, God, there's a lot going on here. I seriously just let her have it for like 5 full minutes straight. And when I was done, I went back into my apartment, made sure my pup was kennelled, locked my door, and marched down to
Got
the
the
office.
shotgun. Yeah.
I guess in the time it took me to kennel the pup and everything, she'd called down and reported me for harassing her because my landlord asked what had happened. I filled her in on the situation, explaining that the roaches and the disgusting living conditions. She was furious. She inspected both of our apartments and pointed out that our lease includes a clause about maintaining sanitary conditions and avoiding infestations. They ended up with a 30-day eviction notice, and they tried to guilt trip me by calling me a bitch, I reckon, asking how I felt making a family with young kids homeless, blah, blah, blah. I didn't care at all.
Pretty good.
The day they moved their shit out, and I made that up too, but I think I got it right, and left was the happiest day of my life, TBH.
Did they live somewhere in
She wanted them to
Froome?
go from the moment they arrived. It was just all an exercise in shitting on them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you sure that they weren't my ex-tenants that we're talking about here,
I mean, they could have been your future tenants in this point.
though?
I'm not
It's
sure
not
what
far
year
off.
it was.
No, my current
They moved-
tenants are all right.
Now, this is where the neighbour story gets real. And this one's
right.
from All It's Interesting.
Oh, well, that's a very good source.
Yes, and it is kind of interesting. On the snowy morning of February 1, 2021, 3 bodies were found in Plains Township, Pennsylvania. At the time, Plains Township was one of several areas in the Northeast to get hit by a massive winter storm, which led to multiple flight cancellations and school closures. Snow totals reached higher than 30 inches in some regions, and the slick, icy roads caused many motor vehicle accidents. One of them was Jeffrey Spade, who was born on the 16th of June 1973.
Oh, he's my age.
Well, maybe there's some similarities. Let's wait and see. Jeffrey Spade grew up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and spent much of his early life in the area. Spade attended Wilkes University and then Villanova University, earning a BS in environmental engineering and
Bullshit.
an MS in water resources and environmental engineering. A decorated veteran, Spade served in the US Navy during the 1990s, followed by stints in the US Army National Guard and the US Navy Reserve. He also worked for more than 20 years as an engineer. All in all, he lived a seemingly ordinary life. However, Spade never got along with his neighbours, James and Lisa Goy, who were 50
Not the
and
Goys.
47 years old, respectively. Oh, yes, the Goys.
Who were they again? I went to write
The
their names.
Goys.
All right,
James and Lisa.
Oh, I went to write down Jane and Lisa, and I thought that's not right. I think the
Hang
boys
on
were-
a minute.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
They were known to have been involved in several arguments. Apparently, there's been an ongoing dispute between neighbours, some of which involved a dispute about snow disposal and removal, explained Luzerne County First Assistant Directory Attorney Sam Sanguadolce. They're across the street from each other. And when they would remove snow, they would throw it across the street at the other person's property. But despite the volatile relationship between Spade and the Goys, their fights were never reported to authorities. On the morning of February 1, 2021, Jeffrey Spade began arguing with James and Lisa Goy outside of their home in Plains Township. Like many of their earlier fights, this one centred on snow shovelling. According to NBC News, the Goys
something I have
shovelled
to worry
snow.
about.
Yeah, not an issue for most of Australia.
Yeah.
The Goys shovelled snow from their parking spots and then moved it across the street before dumping it on Spade's property.
Oh,
Soon
piss off,
afterwards-
boys.
What idiot? What idiot?
Yeah, what fucks?
Well, they don't get on with him,
Boys.
so they're just being assholes. Yeah.
Mm.
Soon afterward, Spade emerged from his home and asked the couple to stop. They didn't. Instead, the conversation devolved into a heated altercation that involved Spade and the Goys verbally threatening each other.
Is there
Hurling
some
multiple
irony that his name
obscenities.
is Spade and this is over
And they're
shoveling?
shoveling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How do you confuse an Irishman?
Call a spade a shovel?
Give him 3
I don't know.
spades and tell him to take his pick. Right, back to the story.
Sorry, yeah.
Instead, the conversation devolved into a heated altercation that involved Spade and the Goys verbally threatening each other, hurling multiple obscenities and calling each other names. "I'll make your life a living hell living here, dickhead," James Goy angrily shouted at Jeffrey Spade. Spade replied, "What? Fuck you, you fucking scum." Then James'
goodness.
wife Lisa yelled, "You're the fucking scumbag. You didn't know you don't know how to talk to any God. You don't know how to talk to somebody." What? That's a weird sentence.
Wow, she's smooth.
She's and my telling her smooth story is even smoother. Whew. James continued, "That's right. You're a pussy, pussy, pussy." I'm assuming it's that and not a putty, putty, putty because there's asterisks between the P and the Y.
Puffy?
Puffy.
You
it could be
puffy?
Puffy,
Yeah.
puffy, puffy.
You're a puffy, puffy, puffy.
Well, these days that might be considered a slur, right?
It probably would be.
Oh,
Someone would be offended
yes.
by it.
Puffy, puffy.
All of this was captured on surveillance footage, along with the violent escalation of the argument. In a video, Spade is eventually seen walking down his driveway towards his neighbours, revealing a gun in his hand.
I thought you were gonna
Here
say
we
that.
go. Ban guns, America, ban guns. It's just this
I
sort
shouldn't
of...
laugh, but far
No,
out
but
the solution.
what is about to happen would not have happened if he didn't have a gun readily available. Ugh.
James warned Spade to put the gun down, but Spade refused to listen. Instead, he began firing, hitting James first before moving on to Lisa.
Oh,
Jeepers.
shit.
Though the wounded James attempted to flee towards his home, shouting for other neighbours to call the cops, Spade soon shot him again.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, the injured Lisa screamed, "You fucker, you!"
I bet she did. I think that's what you or I would do too, Schmitty.
While you've been shot, "You fucker, you!" Spade was then seen walking back to his home.
Oh!
However, he only went inside to replace his handgun with an AR-style rifle so that he could continue
Jesus.
firing on the Goys, essentially
Oh,
executing them.
Oh, my
Oh.
God.
my
Like,
God.
again. Multiple guns.
So they weren't able to make it inside the house? They were like maimed outside kind of thing?
Yeah, they were at the front. He went
themselves
inside the
through the
house to get his
snow.
new gun.
To finish them off.
One of the last things Spade said to his neighbours before killing them was this: "You should have kept your fucking mouth shut." Then Spade retreated to his home once more to shoot himself with a third rifle.
Yeah. A third rifle.
There's a
Sure,
lot
shooting
going
yourself with
on.
a rifle's not that easy because it's all long and stuff.
You've got to have long arms.
Yeah.
Police responded to the chaotic scene a little before 9 a.m. that morning. By that point, locals had reported hearing several rounds of gunfire go off earlier in the day. Additionally, Jeffrey Spade was allegedly seen pacing inside his home before the final shot was heard, when he died by suicide.
Yeah,
I
because he
mean,
would have been like, fuck.
understandably. How did that happen? I just went to
Whoops.
shovel the snow.
That escalated quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you call a spade a spade? The gruesome murder-suicide and the expletive-filled argument that preceded it quickly garnered strong reactions from many people. Some expressed sympathy for the Goy family, especially since the deceased couple left behind a 15-year-old autistic son who will now need to be cared for by his grandparents. One woman in France, who identified herself as a relative of the Goys, said the couple didn't deserve a tragic death like cattle.
They shouldn't have put that snow on his yard.
However, others came to the defence of the deceased Spade, arguing that he had endured bullying from his neighbours for too long.
Shouldn't
and
have
reached
put that
his
snow on
breaking
his yard.
point.
Yeah.
No.
Right? This is the Team Swanee. Meanwhile, others were
take him
simply
out.
shocked that an argument over something like snow shoveling could end so violently.
The moderate people.
The straw that broke the camel's back.
One thing is certain, both Spade and the Goys leave behind many loved ones who desperately wish that morning had ended differently.
Good God.
What a waste. Good
And I
God.
just want to know, would a friendly wave each morning help to make a better day for Spade and the Goys? Barry Crocker. And that is my story of Neighbours.
Oh my God, that's shocking.
What did you think?
Well, apart from the Karen one, which, you know, we've already established she's just a total
Truth stretcher extraordinaire.
Truth stretcher. Thank goodness
Truth
for that,
stretcher,
Jen. It's so
yeah.
perfect. Did you really want to write an article into a, you know, where did you get it from? Like
Is it Reddit or something.
it sounded like New Idea or
was-
something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Dear,
people.
and when they'd call like the husband mere male, or there used to be something.
I think, yes.
That's like
me-
my mum used to watch something and they would describe like the person when they talk about the man would be MM, and I still can't remember what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, mere
It was
male.
like mere
It
male.
was-
Mere
you're
male.
right, yeah.
It was mere
Isn't
male.
that
I'm like, oh my God, so
That's Life or
sexist.
something? It was.
It probably
yes.
is these days. This is like mum used to have like New Idea and Woman's Day, because Woman's Weekly was a bit more highbrow compared to those pair, and those they were pretty dodge. But you know, mere male. Oh my God! And then that read like that. She'd written a thing for bloody New Idea.
It really did.
Oh, really?
Or Penthouse.
What's that?
I went over there and she had her
Boring.
tits out or something.
Yeah.
Like she was
That
breastfeeding
would've
4
been-
of the 8 kids that she had.
I was going to say that'd be more interesting than what we actually did here.
Oh my God! She just had that fucking tea.
Yeah, she didn't like my cookies. Make me more cookies. No.
And she thought that by telling us that we'd be so thinking, oh my
Sympathetic.
God, how ridiculous. I could never put up with that myself. I couldn't live next to something that we're all leading somewhere with this. Oh, and let me guess, you couldn't put up with it. No, and I got them kicked
I
out.
don't feel sorry for
I
her.
just feel like if you were going to make that story up, you could make yourself seem a little bit better.
I was badly done, wasn't it?
Absolutely true. You
it's
could,
awful.
it's a very unsympathetic retelling of their own position.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, complete lack of self-awareness.
But I think that probably was the crux of the issue with the Neighbours.
The
Complete lack
problem.
of self-awareness. Yeah, complete lack of self-awareness.
We get
Oh,
cockroaches in the woodpile all the time, and never where there's one is there always a ton.
No.
It's not a thing.
Well,
I mean,
even if it
Balmain in
is,
Sydney,
mind
there's
your own
cockroaches
business.
everywhere, but
Oh my God, Swanee.
Sydney is a
when-
cockroach capital of the world.
it
isn't it?
is.
We used to
It
walk
really
back
is.
from the Bondi Hotel, and these things would be like 4 inches long.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen as
Yeah.
many as that. That's exactly right. We have them
Yeah,
here.
and they'd
From time to
scuttle
time, it's very
across.
hot.
Oh.
There's a couple of houses
Yeah.
like on the corner that we see them. We laugh about when we know it's hot because they come out overnight and they're around.
They
like,
do,
this
and
particular
they scuttle
parts.
around and.
But oh
can't
my
stand
God, I
them.
grew up with them and I hated them. Oh my God, they were everywhere.
I think if
I
you could
hate
train them to walk side by side in a straight line, that'd be a great mode of transport. But
Get on
they
top of
run,
them.
they scurry around everywhere. So if you had a leg on each one, you'd fall over in no time because it would be like walking on ice.
Oh, they're
Anyway.
foul. I remember when I lived in Bondi, I don't know who it was, someone was over and one of them ran across the kitchen floor and it was probably 4 inches long. They were everywhere, right? There was no controlling that. And the girl looks at me and she goes, "What was that?" I said, "It was a cockroach." She goes, "That's a pet," because it was so big. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like that. And then when Hub and Carl came, and at one point we're sitting outside and the whole wall of the shed was moving. It was sort of dusk time and it was
Yeah.
just cockroaches everywhere. And I just, by that time I was so over them that I picked up a broom and I started smashing them because I was just like, I can't. And Hub's laughing her head off. And I'm like, it's like I had a little psychotic break. I just couldn't take it anymore. They were so revolting. I'm like, they must die. They must die.
I'm surprised you didn't get your AR rifle and start shooting them.
Well, because we don't have AR rifles available to us. That's why you don't shoot
And
your neighbour
therein
in
lies
this
your
country when you
point.
have fights. You might stab them, in this country.
Yeah.
We
Or-
might stab people.
Or run them over with your car.
Run them over. Yeah, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
glass them.
that's
That's a
the
good
thing.
one, isn't it?
Yeah, you
Oh,
glass
God,
them for
yeah.
sure.
For sure you
Yeah.
glass them.
Well, maybe the answer is to do like you boys and just live somewhere remote so you don't actually have – you've got neighbours, but they're
Neighbours.
far enough away that they don't bother you and you don't bother them.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
Maybe
lot to
that's
be
the
said
moral
for
of the
that.
story. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There's not enough land on this earth for that.
I feel like there's enough space between myself and mine. I've got a very quiet older man next door who never says boo to a goose. And then on the other side, I've got a young couple they're very quiet. They're nice people, but you've been to our house. You can see into their whole backyard.
Yeah.
And we're very good. We try and just look away.
Friendly
they're
wave
never in
each
there
morning.
Look away.
Well, on occasion, I'll give them a friendly wave and vice versa. But I do my best.
You've had
to
the best
provide
neighbours in the
them
world.
with-
So it wouldn't make any difference after Helen and Nick.
Oh, they were the best neighbours, yes.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's
they were
true.
offset by that complete see you next
Neighbours.
Tuesday on the other
Yeah,
side.
that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a fucking asshole. Yeah. So any sentencing, any thoughts, guys?
I'd just sentence that woman who made the bloody story up. No one cares.
To
love.
eat her own horrible fucking cookies
Yeah,
for the rest of
yeah,
her life.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if she didn't
Gluten
bother.
free, dairy free.
I was just so thoughtful that I went to
Oh.
that extreme to do that
I
for people that
know.
I hadn't even met. And I
Such
thought,
a
I'll just make them
martyr.
without anything. And a martyr, that's it.
And she greeted me at the door with 8 kids. Like, what on earth
What
is
a
that?
filthy slag.
Roach breeding, infestation creating.
It's just extraordinary.
Well, she thought
I
she
just-
had an audience that were going to listen and love it. Oh, I'll be outraged with her, this mock sort of outrage of
internally rolling my eyes. How do
And
you
then
even
my
do that?
support pet.
No.
I wonder why you got a support pet, love.
I trained that dog to be a emergency,
An
not
anxiety
emergency, sorry,
riddled
emotional support
emotional
animal.
support animal. Yeah.
And then it became anxiety riddled from the children who hit it in the face and pulled its ears until it
And-
growled at them. Let the fucking dog bite them then. It's fine.
I'll set
They
the
asked for
dog
it.
police on you. Truth.
I'll let him
section.
eat you. The dog's
Oh,
police.
yeah, right.
I thought when she said, I dealt with it definitively, I thought she's walked up and she's belted that kid in the face and pulled his ear and said, how do you
Yeah.
like
I've got
it,
a
you little
punishment
shit?
for her. The people at New Idea loved the story so much that they sent out a journalist and a photographer to get the story from her and the old neighbours, and they found out she was just beep 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 asterisk beep. A bullshit artist, and that's the title of the article. Bullshit artist,
Yeah,
and a big
nice.
photo of her exposed. There you go. That's her.
Don't
punishment.
give
Yeah.
me that. Don't take my
Yeah,
photos.
yeah.
No.
It's local woman
And her anxiety riddled.
totally fabricates story to harness some interest in her small life.
Oh, you are cutting.
Yeah, it does need. I shouldn't be editing it. That maybe that can be the subhead. And
Can
the
you-
top one can just be bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you add a couple of asterisks? Because
Yeah,
I'm really
and then underneath I'll
struggling.
say woman who expletive laden. What would you call that when it's a letter to the editor or whatever else?
Yeah.
Finds local lady has been lying through her teeth. When we went to investigate, and take pictures of this troublesome family, it turned out
Yeah.
they never existed. She had
We
fabricated the entire
call
thing.
we call bullshit.
We call bullshit.
I'm trying to
That's
think of
fair.
a Sun, the UK Sun, how they always had puns.
I'm wasted. That's what I should have been doing.
Cookie
Boo-hoo.
dough slag caught in sham or something,
Yes, yes, I like it.
AbFab did one about a scandal involving Patsy, and it was Fash Mag Slag.
Yes.
Like,
He was working
That
for
would
Grove.
Cookie
be
Mag
the kind
Slag
of thing
is.
you would have seen. Yeah, that's why I was like cookie dough slag caught in sham
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
That was really lighthearted and fun until 3 people died. But apart from that, good one, Clarky.
Yeah, well done.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is go. Oh, no. All right.
Oh,
there it
no.
is.
There had to be a death somewhere in there, didn't there?
But 3 is very. That was actually quite sad. As we say, very good job. As we say every week, miss you already.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.